I'll skip rocks in the river while you lie next to me, and we bump into someone who reminds me of something that I can't explain, because now it means nothing. I'm making small talk with strangers who I used to love, about Canadian winters and how much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers, and what it means to they see a stranger when they look at me.
We're here live at CFRC 101.9 FM, CFRC live sessions. We're here with The Wilderness today.
Hello.
We've got three of you guys, a slightly different setup. And there's just so much to talk about. And, you know, this is a show that is slightly Kingston focused, so let's take it back to your Kingston beginnings.
Sure. Well, it was January 25th, 2015.
I love that there's this, like, there's a narrative here.
It is. I remember it like it's in my calendar every year. It's like the band birthday, you know? But yeah, it was 25th of January 2015. I was working at Musiki at the time. I had been living in Canada for maybe a year, if that. Just moved here from the UK, and I was desperate to have friends and to play music. And these guys came into the open mic at Musiki, and there was a snowstorm outside, and nobody else turned up, so we just played music together. And then I was like, okay, sweet, so we're like a band now. Okay, well, we're going to rehearse tomorrow. And I just kind of like kidnapped them into being in the band, so we had our first rehearsal the next day. And yeah, that was 9 years ago, a couple of days ago.
And very shortly after, to tie in the CFRC story into this, very shortly after that, you did your first ever sort of non-open mic show, and that was for CFRC on Cindy's Indie Wake Up Call show, in fact.
Yeah, that's right. It was maybe within, I don't know, a week of us like being a band. I was actually going back through our Instagram like yesterday, and I found like a picture from it. And bless Cindy for being so kind and having us on, because we were goddamn terrible. We were just idiots who were like, yeah, well, we're a band, and we made bad music back then. But Cindy was like, yeah, sure, you're a band from Kingston, come on my show. And she gave us a head start.
Amazing. And like, you guys have evolved so much since then. I kind of want to talk about like the music and the themes, but I think we'll start off like sort of reverse chronologically, because we do have a song that you are going to be playing for us that is a new song that's just come out, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're going to play you first the leading single from the album. It's called Strangers I Used to Love. It shares a title with the album. And the song, along with the album, are kind of like love letters to past selves and past relationships and past homes. This song in particular, I think Jonas can speak to it better than I can in some respects, but it's about the way that home kind of grows away from you. It's about going back to a place that you used to really love and trying to connect to people who you used to connect with, and realizing that after all this time you've really drifted in different directions and gone different ways. So if Jonas wants to speak to the particularities of the experience, he can, but I've got it on a philosophical level.
Oh, dude, you like summed it up way better than I could. I'll just start talking about England and pints and boring stuff like that. That was great.
No, but I can definitely see like both aspects of that coming in, because it's like you move away from somewhere, and then it's like the picture of that place in your head is of what you left, and when you come back, suddenly it's like this. It's like a strange new place, and you're like a stranger who doesn't fit into that place.
Exactly.
I'm saying because I was listening to this song, and like I grew up in India. I moved away and went back like 2.5 years after, and like you go back and suddenly it's like, oh, these were my places, and it's like it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at it from that point of
Totally.
view.
That was exactly the feeling. I went home for the first time in like 2.5 years, like after COVID, and I had built this like rose tinted glasses version of my hometown and my childhood like in my head, and I was so like painfully homesick and nostalgic for my home. When I got back there, I was like, oh my god, like I'm not from here anymore. Like the people who I was like best friends with growing up, like I'm trying to think of things that we could say to each other, you know, that we have in common. And there were lots of people, because like it was my mum's 60th birthday party when I was there, and it was my sister's wedding. And my girlfriend was at my mum's 60th birthday party, like having a conversation with somebody my mum works with. And I was like, you doing all right? Like, you're speaking to a lot of strangers and you're holding your ground. And I'm like, you know, do you need to escape for a bit? And she's like, yeah. like, I'm fine, but if I have to make small talk with strangers about Canadian winters one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. And I was like, I got to write that down.
What a lyric.
That's going to be a goddamn song. So.
And it is.
And now it is.
And we'll listen to it right now.
Amazing. All right. You want to count us in?
Yeah, do you need to change anything?
Should be good.
God damn it. Good thing this isn't live.
I'm making small talk with strangers who I used to love about Canadian winters and how much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers and what it means. Do they see a stranger when they look at me? You took my mom's car and I thought you'd ask me where we were going. You slept in the backseat, I rolled down the windows. Drove across the country, there's some places I want you to see. The house in the hills, where I spend my summers, it's hotter than hell, and it keeps getting hotter. There's a town in the valley with cobblestone streets. I'll skip rocks in the river while you lie next to me, and we bump into someone who reminds me of something that I can't explain, because now it means nothing. I'm making small talk with strangers who I used to love about Canadian winters and how much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers and what it means. Do they see a stranger when they look at me? Life has been good, nothing too crazy. My sister got married, she's having a baby. It's so good to see you. Have you been lately? My mom's doing well and my dad fucking hates me. We talk about someone who reminds me of something I try to explain, because now it means nothing. There's a voice in the air and I've heard it before. I spilled my guts and now the anger's not the same anymore. I'm making small talk with strangers who I used to love about Canadian winters and how much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers and what it means. Do they see a stranger when they look at me? I'm counting all my blessings and cutting my losses. I'm letting go of anger and the time that it cost me. Fell in love with my regrets. I'm sick of the shame. I'm living, breathing, screaming. I've got blood in my veins. Need me here, or should I come home? Do you need me here, or should I come home? Do you need me here, should I come home? How much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers and what it should I come home? Do they see a stranger when they look at me?
Okay, Strangers I Used to Love, CFRC 101.9 FM. We're here with The Wilderness. That is not just the song you played, but it's also going to be the album's title. And like the album, I feel like a lot of your music has this theme, but I'm getting this sense of like nostalgia, like you just told us, and just sort of like themes of belonging and home and where home is and all that kind of stuff.
For sure. I mean, we started this band when we were 21 and now we're, turning 30 or in our 30s. And during COVID and the last couple of years, we went through a lot of like growing pains as individuals and as a band. And, it was a really tough couple of years. Like last year, 2022. Yeah, there was a point where I basically thought this is a sinking ship, and we're we're kind of done. But part of this album process was we locked ourselves away on a house on Howe Island last winter, and we had to like do a lot of work on like ourselves and on our friendship, and do a lot of kind of, I don't know, sounds corny, but like self-discovery. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we all had a lot of work to do. And in doing that came a lot of these songs. And I think it was pretty reflective of kind of what we were going through, growing up, figuring out what your priorities are in life, going to therapy, figuring out why you're so fucked up. Am I allowed to say that? Who cares? And like that kind of all like manifested itself into, as Nick was saying earlier, this sort of overarching theme of like kind of strangers, whether that stranger is a former version of yourself or somebody you used to know or a place you grew up. It's about, I don't know. Nick, you are so much better with words.
No, dude, you got it. It's about coming to terms with who you are, despite all of the people that you've been. I think there's themes of grief in certain songs. I think there's themes of loss in certain songs, whether that's like, again, a relationship with a person or yourself or the place you're from. But there's also like this theme of wanting to grow into something different, and that is true for us as friends, it's true for us as individuals, and it's true for us as a band. Our sound on this record is different from anything that we've put out before. It's way more cohesive. Everybody's got their own place. Everybody's got kind of a voice for themselves, and everybody gets to shine through it. So in the same way that we've been making sure that we're all still good friends to one another, we also have tried to make sure that we help each other sound our best, and I think that's what this record is. It is just the best foot we've ever put forward for ourselves.
And it is about the journey. Like you can quite clearly see the progression of going from like just like ideas and more confusion to like in some of these songs where you've sort of almost come to a few conclusions. It's what it's sounding like to me.
Mm-hmm. Max, you want to chime in, bud?
I mean, this is the first like project that I've been a part of with you guys, and so it's been like kind of a fun journey just getting to write songs with the Wilderness just in general. And I wasn't really around when these kind of like tough parts of like being in a band were happening. I kind of joined after that, so I feel like I'm kind of coming into this project when it's almost breathing a new life, and I feel like everything we've been working on so far is like really bringing us in a new direction. I mean, before I joined the band, I would like listen to the Wilderness as a fan, and I feel like now being a part of it, it's almost like a completely different band, just in terms of the style of stuff that we're doing. So I think that we're moving in the right direction.
And I mean, you did talk about how like people find their place in the band, and like that's been happening for you as well. And I guess it's like even though there are multiple songwriters in the band, I just feel like everyone has their own different flavor that they add to the Wilderness, and you can sort of hear that in who's written which song. How do you like then decide what's a good balance of like everybody on the album?
Well, this album in particular was like by far and away the most collaborative from a songwriting perspective of anything we've ever done. Like when we had this place on Howe Island, like it was like going to church for us. Every Tuesday night without fail, we'd get there, we'd plug in our instruments, write songs, hang out, and then we'd stay the night there and do it all day Wednesday. And we were all writing all the time, and I would say, I've got this idea, like, Nick, Max, what do you think? And they would put in lines and stuff. So like I really think that there's a flavor of everybody in this album in just the lyrics alone. Like I think everybody in the band contributed something, whereas before it would very much be like myself or Nick or Karl kind of like sequestered away, like writing by ourselves and then bringing a fully formed idea to the band, whereas this time we were all there like heads down scribbling away. I have some video footage of like a lot of this happening, and there's even on the album, not on one of the songs we're playing today, but on the album there's a voice memo that's buried in one of the tracks where we get like that eureka moment where we finally wrote that line that we'd been like searching for, and it's in like the voice memo is in the song because we were all sitting in the living room like, we just need one more line. But yeah, that was a long story. But yeah, this process was all of us together. And I feel like the whole is so much greater than the sum of its parts that way, because it's got everybody's like unique approach to songwriting in there.
And it does sound like it's very much a document of like where you guys are as a band right now.
Mm-hmm. I really hope that does come across. Like, it's been almost 4 years since we put out our last album, and you know, part of that was due to COVID, and part of that was because we simply weren't ready. I was a pretty negative impact or negative driving force of the band very often, because I was so impatient, and I was like, "We just got to do this," and that like did more harm than good. So we took our time. Like, we took a lot of time on this project, and as a result, it feels like the most us it could feel. So being patient is a good thing, I've learned.
Yeah. And the song that we're going to be hearing next, is that also going to be on the album?
Yep. It is the second single, which comes out on
March 6th.
Okay, so
I promise.
Is this the song that's going to the Kingston Canadian Film Festival?
You are correct. We're about to play you a tune called The Garden of England, or rather just Garden of England. We're big about articles in the band. The song's called Garden of England, and we have a video for it coming out on March 2nd at the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. A good portion of the band flew to England to film it, including Jonas, including our excellent manager, Nicole, our bass player, Karl, and our very trusted filmmaker, Celine. And yeah, we're quite proud of it. So we hope that you come to the premiere, because that's the first chance you'll get to hear it before the song comes out.
Let's listen to it right now.
The Garden of England was burning all around me. There were boarded buildings and the orchards all were empty. And I walked past the oak tree, and we spread our dog's ashes in the breeze. I ran along the footpath between the fields, retracing all my steps to see how it feels. But I got lost, and I hate that. I asked for directions and I can't get back. If I lived there my whole life, would I be the same? Trying out in the heat and soaking up the rain, looking the wrong way when I cross the road. The traffic lights turn red and I'm on my own, listening to all the songs he wrote. When we thought the world was ours, we should have known. It all comes flooding back. Fist fights in the locker room, I feel my fists collide with you. There was anger in your eyes about ties I use in bloodshed to prove ourselves for nothing, to prove our worth to no one. Vacant fathers, violent sons. I stand on strength, get back to work. Didn't care how much it hurt. Tried to be a man and toughen up, with blood stains leaking through my shirt. No wonder we grew up so fast, washed away by the broken glass, the pounding pints and the kicking of beatings, dragged out, wounded, limping, wheezing. I cracked jokes and I couldn't focus. My temper made my parents nervous. The teachers told them I was useless, and I still don't know what the truth is. I got lost in the landscape and somehow it still found me. Now I'm standing at the top of the hill. My lungs are on fire and the air is still.
We're here back live CFRC 101.9 FM. We're here at the CFRC live sessions, and this is an almost like rare acoustic sit-down moment that we're having with The Wilderness. And you guys just played Garden of England for us. Again, it's just, I mean, first of all, like doing this acoustic set, how different is it from like the band live? Because we've seen you guys live. It's a huge sound. We were just talking about how you could probably fill the Super Bowl space if you guys did it.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, usually at a Wilderness show, there is double the number of band members than there are here today. There's 6 of us. There are 2 electric guitars. Liam has, I don't even know how many keyboards and synthesizers. Henry on the drums, and also plays like a gazillion cymbals. Nick plays, Lord have mercy, what doesn't Nick play? Nick plays like 3 different acoustic guitars and sometimes a saxophone and tambourine at the same time. This guy's
we
like
love
an
the
octopus.
saxophone.
Yeah. Karl plays bass, Max plays guitar, there's 4 vocalists, so it's loud. It's loud,
is, yeah.
And it's kind of rock and roll, and you know, we try and make all of our shows like a spectacle, you know, like one of the best compliments we got was at a show in Winnipeg, and we played to like 7 people or 8 people. The house tech there was like, wow, you guys bring like a level of production that I would expect to see at a way bigger venue. And like I was like, hell yeah, because we had like all our own lights and we try to make a spectacle of it. But all of the songs that are on this album, they started like this. They started on How Island with one of us or all of us with an acoustic guitar and a notepad. So it's kind of nice to, after months and months and months, or the better part of a couple of years, scrutinizing these songs and working on the minutiae of guitar tones and drum fills and stuff, like just strip it back to the way we wrote them. And it also makes me realize I need to practice more. So, goddamn.
Well, it does have an impact for the songs too, because I'm trying to remember who said this, so help me cite my sources here, but there was somebody that said to us, like, does your song pass the test of being good around a campfire? I don't remember who this was.
Was
but
it Ryan maybe?
Maybe it was Ryan McDonald, yeah. And it was like, if the song is still worth listening to with just an acoustic guitar and a voice, then you can go ahead and add saxophones and drums and synths and bass and harmonies and what have you. But if it's not good enough with just a couple guitars and a voice, then what are you writing, right? So the fact that we get to play this stuff in its like most raw form is really special, because it means that the songs are okay.
Well, the audience will be the judge of that. Am I right, audience listening at home?
We think they're okay.
No, I'm glad that we get to see both sides of it, like here in studio, 3 guitars, and then I think the last time I saw you guys was Broom Factory, and then also in the summer at Spring Reverb. And those are, like you said, huge productions. You've got the sound, but you've also got the lights and the smoke machines and all of
those
that.
things are my favorite.
I think you're the only band in Kingston I've seen with the smoke machine.
Max is the guy.
Yeah, we have like I work at the music store along with McQuaid, and we just have a whole bunch of smoke machines that don't get much use. So whenever the Wilderness is playing, I just steal all of them, and we make it look crazy in there.
Where it's like, more geysers, more geysers, more geysers. It's actually the sickest thing. People see that and they're like, wow, these guys are like a huge band. They, like, you put like a smoke machine in a room and people are like, wow, these guys are legit. Music sucks, man, but they're legit.
But also, can we just talk about the vibe of your shows for a second? Because it's like, I mean, you touched on this a little bit earlier, but when you get out on there and you're just like, it's a very communal feeling when you're on stage. It doesn't feel like there's a divide between, you know, the platform, the stage, and the audience. And it's just like this like cathartic outpouring of like grief and love, and it just like comes together as such a huge thing.
Oh my God, thank you so much. That's all we could ever hope and dream to have as feedback. Like, playing live with my best friends is the best thing in the world. It is a drug and a high that I will be chasing for the rest of my life. But my favorite thing about it is like sharing it, not just with us, with other people. And like, that's always been really important to us, that like the show isn't just like us, you know, fucking shredding and noodling and, you know, not paying attention to the audience. The audience have paid to be there. And like, they are just as important to the show as we are, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, I think community and doing things communally is like the best thing in the world. So if the six of us can go up on stage and fucking play songs that make everybody want to cry and hug each other, then hell yeah. Like, it's like I don't know, like, I grew up in a very religious household, and I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. But, you know, I said, see you later to that whole thing. But to me, like, this sounds so corny, like church, like the community, like the sort of like communal experience, spiritual experience, whatever you call it, I get that with no bullshit strings attached from playing in the wilderness and playing live. And, you know, it was the same thing when I saw Bruce Springsteen. It felt like a religious experience. And like, I'm not trying to say that we're a cult or anything, but I want people to come to our shows and feel involved and feel included and feel safe and feel that they can fucking cry on a stranger's shoulder if they have to, or dance or whatever. It's like, it's the best thing in the world, and sharing that with other people is like something I will never ever take for granted. It's just insane to me that anybody comes in the first place.
But also, like, having been to your shows, I don't see any other way a wilderness show could go. Like, it just fits your music so well, where it's like, I think this is more of like your songwriting specifically, but it's like you get that sort of like underdog, end of the world kind of like this like kind of it's us against the world, but we're gonna be okay and we love each other, and that sort of vibe to it. It's like kind of like the Smiths if it was less like depressed and less
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, that's the best. And I think it is us against the world. And like, I mean, like, let's face it, guys, the world is ending. Like, we're all on borrowed time here. So it's us against the world, and meaning us, like everybody in the room, you know, because everybody living in this world right now is having a hard fucking time. And that's just the truth, you know, like, it's hard to be alive some days. So if we can share that feeling of like, hey, it's us against the world, and like, you know, everything's awful, but we're here together having the best time in a room, like together as a body of people, like that's just so wonderful to me, you know. And it's not just the band, it's everyone, it's every single person there.
And people will get the chance to experience this. I'm not going to call it seeing you guys, because it's more of an experience.
My God,
because
you're
going on tour.
It's amazing. Sorry, I feel like I've done a lot of talking. Max on deck. Tell me to shut up. Get in there, boys.
I just want to give an anecdote that proves your point. When we played at Spring Reverb June?
Yeah.
Last June, that was the first time we ever played Strangers I Used to Love live. And my mom was in the audience, and I grew up in a split household. And the line that Jonas wrote, or the band wrote rather, about dads, nearly got me in a lot of trouble because I saw my mother's face just move so vividly when Jonas sang that. And I saw like a whole room of people being like, whoa. And I thought that was hilarious, but I think that it was also like such a fun community experience. And I'm apologizing to any dads who hear our song, including our dads.
Including my dad.
I'm apologizing to Jonas's dad for that song. But I will say that, like, if there is a way to get through trauma, if there's a way to get through challenges to do with patriarchy in general, it's to be in a band full of boys who you love.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell them, like, we tell each other we love each other all the time. It's actually crazy. Like, we have like group therapy sessions sometimes. We'll like sit down and like cry and stuff. It's really good.
What else is a band for?
Yeah, I mean, it's like therapy, but like cheaper and way more stressful. Actually, it's way more expensive than therapy now that I think about it. It's actually the worst kind of therapy you could possibly imagine. But yeah, like I think what's really important to us as a band is like it's not just 6 dudes who play rock music. It's 6 dudes who play rock music and stand for something that's important. And like, you know, I think that if during our show and like through our songs we can kind of say, hey, like being a man isn't about being a fucking tough guy and being an idiot or whatever, and it's okay to be fragile and it's okay to be, you know, have emotions. Like that's the whole thing, because it took me a long time to realize that myself, but doing it with, I don't know what I'm saying. Shut up. You know what I'm saying. Max, tap in here.
But you are going on tour.
We are going on tour.
Thank God. What a segue.
We're kicking it off with a big local show that's going to be our album release show, April 12th at the Broom Factory. So if you want to hear anything that we've done today or all of these emotional songs that we've been talking about, then that's your time to come catch us, April 12th.
We're also going to like drive across the country and play a bunch more shows in addition to the Kingston one. We're driving all the way out to the West Coast and then through the States. It'll be our first time back to the U.S. since 2019.
2019, yeah.
It's a big deal. And then when we come back, we're all going to go to the Red House and then go to sleep for days. That's what we're going to do.
If we go to the Red House, we'll get roped into working.
Well, that's so fair. So people can find you guys online, find the tour and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And the new album, do we know when it's coming out? The exact
12th.
Date? April 12th.
Yeah.
Same day as the release show, which makes sense.
We will have vinyls.
We will have vinyl records that you can put in your hands and on your stereos.
I also want to point out that Nick Lennox, this beautiful man, taught himself how to use Adobe, Photoshop, and Lightroom and did all of the album artwork and designed the vinyl and like nearly aged by 50 years trying to get it done for the deadline. So
worth mentioning, because I also feel like it works well with the themes of the show. It's like you did the whole like anonymizing eye like scratch out thing, and it's like, yeah, this is our music, but it also works for everybody else. You cut out the eyes and it's everybody.
Yeah, it's the most us thing we've ever done in every respect, and getting to be part of the visual aspect of it, I think, just solidified that. Never let me get a job in graphic design in real life, because it is really hard.
Yeah, and never let me be a video editor, because putting the scratching things over a moving video frame by frame, that wasn't fun.
Graphic design is their passion, guys.
Oh, graphic design is not my passion, nor is video editing, nor is music at this point. My passion is my dog. Sleep.
But we're going to go out with one last song.
And it's about that.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah, this song
perfect
is called Somewhere Left Behind, and it's about self-doubt and persevering. We're still a band. We're still going to be a band when you see this. It's about persevering. Yeah. It's called Somewhere Left Behind.
That'll be the last song on the session. I've been Rue. We've been here with The Wilderness, CFRC Live Sessions. Check us out.
How much longer is this gonna take, darling? I don't know. How long can you wait? It seems to me you've made your decision, and now you're getting ready to leave. Without me, that's fine, I'll stick around, but I don't have the energy to let you down. You're only dead set on solitude if someone is there for you when you finally come home. And I barely remember what we're doing this for. Why? It used to be obvious, it ain't anymore. Sometimes I can't stand myself, but in hindsight, I'm not sure if I ever did the best of me. Somewhere left behind, it well, but damn, this shit is heavy sometimes. I lie awake at night. What is it that I'm missing? Sometimes I can't stand myself, but in hindsight, I'm not sure if I ever did the best of me. Somewhere left behind there, 1,000 miles from anywhere. I'm terrified of never catching up again. The best of me is somewhere left behind. The anger's not the same anymore. I'm making small talk with strangers who I used to love, about Canadian winters and how much it hurt to get those tattoos on my fingers, and what it means to they see a stranger when they look at me. I'm counting all my blessings and cutting my losses. I'm letting go of anger and the time that it cost me. Fell in love with my regrets. I'm sick of the shame. I'm living, breathing, screaming. I've got blood